Warning, it is notorious that Federation Peak is a dangerous and extremely challenging mountain to climb. A number of deaths have occurred as a result of falls from the mountain over the last few years. Coroner Simon Cooper regarding the death of bushwalker Melissa Fisher in 2016. The feet washing station to kill any bacteria that may be stuck to the bottom of your shoe. You don't want to bring that stuff into precious southwest Tasmanian bush. Got an additional 7 kilometres of hiking here, campers. The road's closed, 7 k's up. So a 20 kilometre one-way hike to the summit becomes a 27 kilometre hike because of these massive potholes. Look at that, the whole road's just collapsed inwards.
That's a tree. A
few more random mountain bikes here at the actual main trailhead. Look at this, I've put my backpack down for a rest. Because of that road closure further up and people having to walk the additional distance, people are bringing bikes in and just leaving them.
It looks like the person left here and then walk, and then they coming back here to get this.
Do the brakes work?
I think so, yeah. I not.
If cantilever brakes aren't even connected. Look at that, mate. Handlebars. Very slowly. Yeah.
Under?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Wow. This is hard,
Oh.
man.
If you're a little person, you go under the log. Taller people with larger backpacks have to make the decision to go over the log.
What if they have a quicksand here?
Welcome to southwest Tasmania, home of mud. It hasn't rained here for quite a few days, and the whole month it's been really dry, so this is only a tiny bit of mud compared to what you'd get if you came in after a big rain. A makeshift cupboard in the tree. And one of the biggest treats in the food basket is your freeze-dried strawberries. Freeze-dried apple wedges, man. Mandarin segments. Freeze-dried blueberries. Freeze-dried mango slices. With such a large Hillyberg tent, it can be difficult to find a spot big enough. Yesterday we had to cut back some of the bushes just to make some more space. Only cutting back the minimal amount though, just to make enough room for the vestibule.
I'm about to tie on the tent onto some of those cut back branches. Today we've got a 13-kilometre hike up the track to the next campsite. With the freeze-dried food, it's extremely important not to get even a single drop of water inside the bag, right? Because then it will start to decompose. So what you do is, once you seal up that top part, alright, you squeeze all the air out of the bag. And what I do is I roll the top over multiple times, as many times as I can. And then on that corner right there, on one of the ends, I put a rubber band. I wrap it many times around that end piece, yeah. And sometimes you can do it on the other end as well. So that way no moisture can get into the bag if it starts raining. See the end corners on our whey protein container. Being a powder, and this is a slightly older bag, so I've put a rubber band on each end. Also, this one here you can see that rubber band on the corner, just to stop it from unraveling and opening up and leaking.
I'm a lazy. I'm a lazy.
Show us how you sweep the floor, sweetie. How do you sweep the floor of the tent?
Done.
Show us again, can you?
My clothes, dirty clothes, and then just sweeping. Huh?
Sweeping the tent floor with a item of clothing. All our makeshift tent pegs. Inside these tent poles you've got a elastic piece of material that holds the whole thing together. You have a look at this one over here. Notice how the elastic rope is black on that one. I actually had to replace that myself. Took the whole thing apart and put a new piece of black bungee cord inside. The original bungee cords are a bit flimsy on these tent poles, so I had to replace that black one over there.
Oh my goodness. Muddy, huh? I thought we finished the muddy mud. This is ridiculous.
Just when you thought you've reached a spot that could be a campsite, it's all just one big mud patty.
Here it comes.
Finally got out of that muddy forest back there. Now we're in the button grass area.
Oh, we still have muddy.
Yep, just a muddy button grass area. So from muddy forest to muddy open grass plain.
Yeah.
This plant you see here, the button grass, very common in west Tasmania. Covers all the flatlands, all the lower lands.
Here?
Yep, I think so. Sometimes it's hard to know where the track is. You're just following the footprints of other people who've passed before us. Creek crossing would be easy if these fallen branches weren't here. Forest camp, the morning, day 3. Give you a quick look. I like to keep my mat as one of the last things that I pack up. That's because I do a bit of stretching and Pilates before we leave, just to wake my back up in the morning. I reckon we've spent maybe 4 or 5 months of our life in this tent. We have been lucky enough to talk to a few other hikers on the track, and just the first question we asked them is, did they make it to the peak? What is the climb route like? Are the holds good? That is the rock holds. The more information we can get, the more feedback, and just a general feel of what it's going to be like once we get up to the really scary part. We're moving pretty slow. There are people coming in and out of this in only 3 days, sometimes even less. There are mountain runners that will do the entire trek in only 1 day. We don't really like carrying that much weight, so we're moving a bit slow. Bit of a mishap last night. I accidentally spilt about half a serving of whey protein, man. Tragic. Every little morsel of food is valuable, but forest camp. Just reached quite a significant part of the track. That is this rock here, where it's known where finally you can see the Federation Peak. There you go. 2 days of very treacherous hiking. Really difficult hiking, man. We're sweating our guts out here. Finally, we can see it. My hat is almost completely gone once again. I usually go through about 3 of these each year. Only cost about $15 US each. I find them extremely comfortable, being a straw fabric, very breathable so your head doesn't sweat. Very good sun protection until it all just falls apart on the back of the backpack. That's because yesterday we were going through a very shady forest and I took the hat off because there was no sun. Just like today, man. No sun at all, just fully cloud. This is our rest day at Cutting Camp. Wash your clothes and dry them out day. There's my shoes. I've said this before in other videos. Never ever leave your shoes on the ground. In this case, I've got my shoes about probably 1.5 meters off the ground. There have been cases of people losing their shoes to Tasmanian devils. In Tasmania, there are still some Tasmanian devils out here, man. And they will actually take a shoe just for fun. People have to sometimes walk out with no shoe or call for a rescue because it's just damn near impossible to actually walk out of these places, man. The terrain is far too intense and you would wreck your feet without shoes. So I've got the shoes hanging separately from the laces. So each set of laces is tied together. So theoretically, to steal the shoe or to pull it down, they'd either have to break that branch completely or chew through the laces, man. They're not that intelligent. They're just going to grab the shoe and just growl, and not much is going to happen, mate. Everything is so wet, right? Because we've been washing. I had a bit of a dip in the creek before, freezing cold water, and I actually had to use my Gore-Tex jacket as a towel to dry my body, dry my hair. These are a few bags we've been using to keep items in, just tied a knot. Every single item we carry is precious out here because it can't be replaced. We are in deep wilderness. These are bread bags, right? So when we buy a loaf of bread, we always keep the bags. Very useful, general purpose plastic bags. 6 metre clothesline. Next to this pristine creek. This spot here could definitely be another spot for a small single tent. There's a lot of single backpackers out here, man. Small groups. Because it's such an incredibly difficult hike, you only see small groups of bushwalkers. And most of the people we've talked to haven't
actually gone to the summit of Federation Peak. We can only cross our fingers that we will make it. And when I say pristine creek, it's kind of a matter of an opinion because the water definitely isn't completely clear. See how it's kind of brown? Really heavy in tannin, this creek, so it's just basically like drinking tea, man, this water. Tannin coming off the trees. It's not dirt, it's just the minerals washing off the plants into the creek, because all this water is obviously coming from upstream through the forests, through the button grass. So you're literally drinking a bit of button grass mineral, man, when you take a sip from a southwest Tasmanian creek. Trusty old carbon element. That's the part of the filter that sucks out probably at least maybe 50-60% of the tannin, making the water cleaner, giving you more sustenance. Too much tannin definitely dehydrates you. You end up with a headache, man, from drinking too much tannin water. Christina's asleep under her sleeping mat. My favourite new gear item at the moment are these Oakley photochromic lenses. Great cloudy weather sunglasses, not for really sunny days, but photochromic meaning that the lenses darken or lighten depending on on how bright the conditions are. Really good safety glasses. They don't fog up too much, I've found, like regular safety glasses. Not the sort of glasses you'd wear in extreme light, like in the snow or even when you're driving, but for bush bashing, really my preferred eye protection. Another interesting item, I actually just found this recently on a hike. Someone had accidentally dropped it in the bush. Opinel, French carbon steel knife. You can see it's a bit rusty. Absolutely deadly sharp though, really good quality knife. I've seen this before in some of the high-end camping stores. Great minimalist knife. Folds up, extremely light. I think it only weighs about 30 grams. And you've got this really nifty little locking part. Look at that. Locks in place. Really good for whittling wood. We're using this to make tent pegs. Rise and shine. Christina just woke up. How cold is the water?
So freezing cold if you go to the swimming. Very
Careful, don't slip.
free.
How do you feel about climbing Federation Peak tomorrow, sweetie?
I feel excited.
Have you had
Excited to go to Federation.
Have you had a good rest?
Yeah, I was sleeping, deep sleep today.
Purple bodysuit, yeah? Is it pink or purple?
I don't know. It's a pink or purple, guys.
You're not camouflaged.
Come on.
Check this out, campers. Just had to do a repair job on my gaiters. See that rope? That's your ankle strap that holds your gaiters down, stops them from riding up your leg. This is the rope I'm using. All right, look at that. Look at this old rope, just completely destroyed by extreme use. Really nice gear rope. Just tied a knot there. I'll burn that end off. I'll grab my cigarette lighter and just burn that end to stop it from fraying, stop it from coming loose. You can see here, this is the standard ankle strap or heel strap that comes on a pair of Cedar Summit gaiters, but due to the stock shortages of COVID, the company that brings them into Australia, they don't even have these anymore, so that's why I've switched to using gear rope, and believe it or not, I think they last almost as long. Just sections of gear rope. You just got to find the right type of rope that is easy to work with. There's the final piece. Not much left. Hopefully enough for one more heel strap.
Okay. We're close to the plateau. Sorry.
About 2/3 of the way. Sludge pit.
Oh my god.
You hate mud, don't you?
This mud.
Just warning, it's almost knee deep there, that mud pit right there.
Jesus, so very
I actually put my foot directly in it. You think you can climb up there, eh? Good move.
This is crazy climb. Goodness.
Finally, we've reached the plateau. There's just so many sections of climbing up tree roots and mini cliffs, traversing across kind of cliff edges as well, hanging onto tree roots. Finally, a sight for sore eyes, man. Bit of man-made walkway. This has been put here just so people don't spread their feet around too much and damage the bush and trample the fragile trees, fragile plants. Whew. Campsite will be down there somewhere. But we ain't staying here, just a lunch break. So we've just stopped here at this campsite for like a 20-30 minute rest, had a bite to eat, and I'm leaving some items here that I won't need on the final summit ascent, just to make my backpack as light as possible. Bush saw, there's no wood up there, so I'm not going to need that. My water container, titanium pots, just a few random items in there like sunscreen, even my binoculars. I'm going to leave them here because today it's all white out, man. You can't even see the peak. So it's unlikely to be any view from up there. Just trying to make this backpack as light as possible. Still got my trekking pole, but we'll probably leave this about 30 minutes up the track. Just down there I can see my gear in the tree, just there. So this is the spot where a lot of people take the wrong turn, right? A lot of people go up that way, up the track there. Well, what looks like a track, but you have to go down this really tight gully, man. Looks pretty sketchy. Came from down that way. Lots of big cans here. There's another can there. So this is what you call direct descent junction, right? You could turn left. I believe that goes towards the Eastern Arthur Trail. But the route up the mountain is there. The most difficult part so far was climbing up there. But now we've reached the truly scary part. Poised above the Geeves Lake, as written by John Chapman, 600 metres below. Not a happy place, man. Oblivion down there. You've got to climb up there. I believe that is the final exposed section.
Photo. Oh, it's not easy. Easy shit.
It looked absolutely terrifying because the drop is just crazy, man.
Where's
Look,
the can?
there's a can here. Where is the next can? I cannot see it. Oh. Hello. I reckon we're only about 50 metres in altitude from the summit, but the route is just getting too difficult to follow. We've already passed some really difficult climb sections, which I'm pretty worried about climbing back down. And I'm making the difficult decision to just turn back, man. This is the spot here.
Why you think that?
See that hanging, that bit of rock there just poised right on the edge. There's no mention of this rock in the book, so I'm a bit worried we've gone the wrong way. The hardest thing is just trying to remember the way back down. The GPS is basically useless because we're almost climbing vertically. It's not going to give you enough data. You just literally just remember the way back. There's not enough cans here or anything. Hey campers, day 5. We just left cutting camp, hiking back along the trail. A couple of days ago, as we were walking through this section, our mooring knife fell out of its case because one of the backpack pouches was open, the zip was open.
the knife actually fell out and landed on the track, and we've just found it here, sticking out of this tree. So in bushwalking, normal protocol is if you find someone's equipment on the track, right, on the ground, what you do is you hang it up in a tree, right, so that if that person comes back, they can easily find it. For example, before I actually found a beanie beside the track, so I just hung it up on a stick, so if anyone, if that person comes back through, they'll be able to find their beanie. To be honest, right now I'm feeling a bit sorry for the person who lost their Opinel knife on this other hike we did about a month ago. But I can safely say that whoever lost it, mate, I know it was there so long, I don't think they were coming back for it. Look at that. Day 6, South Cracroft River campsite. Camped on this wooden platform. This whole area floods when there's a heavy rain, and it has been raining the whole night. Check out what you tie your guy lines onto. They've got these screws sticking out of the side of the wood that you latch onto. Makeshift clothesline in this dead standing tree. They were my clothes I washed yesterday. They haven't dried at all, man, because it has been raining the whole night. Carried over a few chunks of these wooden sleepers, stacked 5 of them up to make a chair. The tent is actually too big for the platform. Have a look at that. So we've had to improvise. This guy line here is tied onto the trekking pole, right, which is wedged into that button grass bush, and this other guy line is actually tied to the boardwalk, right, and I'm a bit worried that we might trip on it, or someone else walking past might potentially trip on it. So I erected this little branch with a rope across. Rope goes down to another makeshift tent peg just there, just as a safety warning. Keep people away from that guy line there, because you don't want to trip on that guy line, man. You could tear the tent exterior. Had to trim back a tiny bit of button grass just there because it was touching the green part of the tent, the outer shell. You never want any grass or any bushes touching the outer shell of your tent. It contributes to condensation, right? So the whole idea is the green part of the tent, that is the outer shell, should not be touching anything at all, really. Not the ground. And no bushes. Back in the tent now because it just started raining again.
Oh my god.
What's wrong?
Leech.
Couple of leeches around you.
Oh god.
Not as many leeches as you'd think, actually, but it's been a pretty dry summer and autumn. Up until now, of course. We did have mosquitoes in the tent. We killed all the mosquitoes. Have to kill them before you go to sleep. Check out the vestibule. So breakfast, I got oats, mixed nuts, and freeze-dried blueberries, all mixed in with warm water, hot water. Tomorrow we've got the final hike out of here through what could have just turned into a swamp with the overnight rain. So I came down to this river just to get some more drinking water, and also just to check the increase in water level. So far so good. There's very little increase in yesterday this river was probably maybe 6 inches shallower than it is now, so it's risen by roughly 6 inches. Kind of gives us an idea of how deep some of the puddles will be in the button grass area that we have to hike through tomorrow. There'll be some seriously nasty puddles that have formed. Hopefully they won't be much deeper than that 6-inch level. Day 7, It was raining all last night and all yesterday, so the whole track in many places has basically just turned into a creek, and then around the creek is just a swamp. Look at that. Trekking pole is extremely useful, not only for balance, but also when I come up to a spot of water that I think could be deep, I use the trekking pole just to prod the mud, just to check how deep it is, because you can end up to your waist out here, man, and in winter you'd be up to your neck in mud. And keep in mind that if you did fall face down in the mud, you could actually drown here too, so it's another thing to be careful of. Look at this spot. So probably 40 centimeters deep where I'm standing. Got a really heavily flooded spot here. Lucky under my feet are lots of broken tea tree bushes, or lots of pieces of wood you can actually stand on. Stops you from sinking in. So yes, this is a trail, the Eastern Arthurs hiking trail. Woo! And this spot here literally is a creek, man. The water is flowing.
If you step here,
Yep.
look at that, what's happening.
Show us.
Up to here.
I think you go down further.
Yeah.
It's pretty soft on the bottom. You could go down like almost a metre.
Oh, sorry. Top of the...
Another thing increasing the difficulty of this track is just all the fallen trees, man. The spot we're coming up to soon is much worse. There's fallen logs, fallen trees everywhere. Quite exhausting having to climb over them constantly. There's another one right there in front of me. And the track is through there.